Hey everybody, welcome back to the couch. My name is Melissa and this is Couch Mom Club. On my channel, you'll find tips and tricks to help moms get off the couch and into life. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you about the shows that I allow my children to watch and the reasons why. Screen time. Here we are again talking about screen time. And I think that it is a very important topic because, parents are always trying to figure out what to do in terms of screen time. Now, if you've been following my journey as a parent and if you've been subscribed to the channel, then you know that I use screen time as a tool for my children. I don't necessarily regulate how much time they use, but I more so focus on what they're using screens for. For me, it is a parenting tool. I am not condoning the use of screens. If you don't want to use screens in your home, that's a choice that you can definitely make. And I do support it. I think, even though I allow my children to use screens, that the less screens or the less reliant you are on screens, the better it is for your kids. I've heard some doctors even say if they're 1, they only get 1 hour of screen time a day. If they're 2, you can increase it to 2 hours and so forth. I don't know that that's necessarily going to work for today's parent. There are some people who still maintain no screens at all, and kudos to you guys. I think that is amazing. But for me, I find that you need to kind of gauge how your children are using the screen more so than the length of time that they're using it for. With that being said, screens or a television show or an activity, whether it be educational or not, screens do not take the place of true parenting. When you are raising children, I believe that the best approach is to be intentional, is to be present, is to be engaged. And allowing your children to become so reliant on a screen might not give you the opportunity to do those things. I get the question a lot, like, what do I allow my children to watch? Especially since I put out a couple of videos about Cocomelon and why some parents are abandoning the show. Some parents are feeling that watching the show is causing their children to display certain behavior that they don't like, and it is overstimulating, some say. And of course, none of that is scientifically proven. However, for me, having as much anecdotal evidence as we have, it is enough for me to say we won't be watching that show here in my house, and it does not work here. I totally understand the need for a screen, especially in today's day and age when screens are so readily available anyways. And chances are, if you're a mom in the early stages of motherhood and you're watching this, you're likely on your couch. Maybe you have a baby or toddler somewhere curled up to you, and you're either watching it on your phone, on a laptop, on the TV in front of you. Whatever it is very hard to keep screens away from children altogether. Of course, there are times when you want to, be a little bit more productive. You want to get something done. You want to zero in on a task. And I don't know, something about a screen just captures a little one's attention. If you are going to use screens, what do you allow your children to watch? Now, I'm going to talk to you about 2 shows that I allow my kids to watch. And the reason why I kind of narrowed it down to 2 shows is because I don't want to be here all night. You don't want to be listening to me for like a 12-hour video to go into depth with all of the things that I let my kids watch or do while they're on the screens. And of course, I said 12 hours, but rest assured, what my children do watch is a very limited list. I think they play more activities on their screens than they do watch. Listen, when you hear number 1, don't fight me in the comments. Just hear me out. And I promise you, the reaction that you're going to probably have when I say this first show is the reaction that I had in the beginning. So the first show that I allow my kids to watch is Blippi. Now listen, I get it. I reacted the same way because before allowing my children to watch Blippi, I was like, I hope and pray they never stumble across this. I hope that even if they do stumble across it, they have no interest in it. I just saw the show one day and I was like, no. That's one of those ones that won't work in my house. However, old Blippi, before the character changed, before he became really, really famous, like the old stuff, that's okay Blippi in my books, okay? Not the new stuff, because that's a whole other episode and we might touch back on that. I quite enjoy watching it with them. The songs are quite catchy. And, the topics are really good in the old Blippi episodes. I find that, one of the things that I think my children benefit from in the show is the way that he spells his name every single episode multiple times.
B-L-I PPI. Blippi, good job.
This was genius to me, because not only did it help kids to remember, like if mom tried to like run a fast one, like, oh, I don't remember how to find it, the kid will be like, listen, I remember BLIPPI, we'll just type that in. But what it did was cause my son to be more intrigued with letters, how things are spelled, spelling his own name, spelling the names of other people and things. And I think that was great. Of course, we were already teaching literacy, you know, introducing them to letters, sounding things out, things like that. But Blippi kind of came alongside what we were already doing with our children, and it was almost like it was a natural parenting tool. So what we were already teaching, you know, how to spell your name, the alphabet, things like that, Blippi was spelling his name all the time, and it got my son in particular quite interested in how to spell. Knowing how to spell Blippi made him feel confident, and because he was confident and, you know, mastered how to spell Blippi, he was spelling off other things, mastered spelling his name, and he was just really interested in letters, which I find, you know, when your kids are interested in reading, interested in letters, that's a good thing. What Blippi did in the early stages was really good in how he introduced them to things like monster trucks, construction sites, and how machinery works and things like that. When your child is engaged in things that are real, that's good ground for learning. And one of the reasons why I love Blippi is because the early Blippi is because he's a human. He's a human being doing human things that your kids will see in real life. Don't get me wrong, there are cartoons that are great out there, and I love a good cartoon. But when it comes to things that I allow my children to watch, I prefer the things to be real human beings instead of, you know, cartoons or things like that. He went on to do real life things. He went to construction sites, as I mentioned. He went to theme parks and things like that. And I found that was really beneficial because what my kids were seeing on the screen were easily things that they saw in the neighborhood. My kid could tell you every single farming equipment. He could tell you what an excavator was, what a tractor was, everything that you use on a construction site. He was very interested in and picked up a lot and learned a lot from Blippi, which I was grateful for, because not only was it entertaining, but it was also educational. Now, of course, I can sing Blippi's praises all day long because I do allow my children to watch the show of, again, the early stages of Blippi, but there are certain things about the show that I don't like. Of course, there are going to be things that you're going to find in any show or anything that you know, kind of allow your children to watch that you're maybe not be 100% keen on. One of the things that I saw in the episode, Blippi either took a police car or ended up in a police car. I'm not really sure how it all happened.
Ooh, we're looking for this person. Have you happened to seen him?
Oh, nope. That gentleman looks like he's wearing glasses. I sure don't.
Oh, you're right. Well, let me give you this. Call us if you see him.
Okay.
Drive safe.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
And Blippi took his glasses off and was like, no, I've never seen that man before in my life. He just bold-faced lied to the cop. I was like, how you just bold-faced lie to the cop? Like, that is crazy. Immediately, I was like, I don't like this. And it also reminded me a little bit about Blippi's colorful past. Now, I'm not going to get into details because as far as I'm concerned, he's forgiven and all is well in the world where he is concerned. And I'm not talking about Blippi the character. I'm talking about Blippi the guy who plays the character. You could look that up on your own. I'm not going to go ahead and dig that all up for you. But that wasn't enough for me to, take it off of my approved list. I still think the early stages of Blippi are great episodes for your children to watch, and I like to couple a lot of the construction episodes, the ones where he does the excavator stuff and things like that, with a throwback to my past, the Mighty Machines. My husband recently introduced Mighty Machines.
Mighty Machines, big and mighty machines, working for you, doing mighty things there. Mighty Machines.
As soon as you hear the theme song, it's just gonna take you back. And I love that show. I loved it as a kid. I love it now, and I think my children are very intrigued with it as well. They'll watch it sometimes. We'll sometimes couple that with the early stages of Blippi. They'll get Blippi's perspective. They'll get the Mighty Machines perspective, and kind of, get a walk in the day in life of when I was a child and when my husband was a child, because those are shows that we watched. This next show that I allow my kids to watch is another one of those shows that you're probably gonna be like, what? Like, are you serious, girl? But yes, I want to admittedly say that I allow my children to watch Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Now, I know that show could be quite the challenge in some regards. It's a great hit, especially for my girls. They love Daniel Tiger. Daniel Tiger has a little bit of a soft spot in my heart because it is kind of like a spin-off on an old childhood favorite as well. So if you are familiar with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, you remember Daniel Tiger in his show, and now they've done a spin-off, or like it's kind of like an homage to Mr. Dress Up. No, not Mr. Dress Up. Whoa, that's another throwback. Mr. Dress Up. Do you remember Mr. Dress Up? Of course I do. Mr. Dress Up. Oh, I love that little was it the tickle box? The tickle trunk. Oh my god. We should probably find that and let the kids see that and see what they think. Mr. Rogers was a great show in my opinion. I think that the man behind the show was a great guy too. He was very innovative and a trendsetter in the way how he integrated his community, and I mean like racialized this show and allowed a lot of people of color and a lot of people of different races to really get involved in the show, and I love that about the show. You'll see a lot of that in the Daniel Tiger Neighborhood as well, where you have different races, so to speak. It is a cartoon, so there's a little bit of a cross between human characters and Daniel, who's a tiger. There's a cat, and there's different animals and things like that. It's a nice tribute to what used to be, and I like it for that reason. And not only that reason, the lessons in Daniel Tiger I find are great lessons. I love the fact that in a Daniel Tiger episode, it's gonna mirror real life, and I think this is the only show really that focuses so much on the potty training. There's a whole song, and you'll catch my daughter singing it, and she loves it. If you have to go potty, stop and go right away. It's a great little jingle, and it really helps, and then when they're in the bathroom, they know all the steps: flush, wash, and be on your way. There are other real life scenarios that Daniel Tiger deals with, like the introduction of a new sibling, which my son dealt with twice, my daughter once. Having allergies, the show talks about what you do when you have an allergy. It talks about how to brush your teeth and get ready for bed. There's so many different things that show teaches: how to share, what to do with your emotions, like how to handle it if you're angry or if you're upset at someone. Everything that Daniel Tiger kind of goes through on the show, my children, my toddlers are doing these things. However, while the show deals with real life topics, they are also having real life tantrums and doing real life crummy stuff that all of us parents don't like. Like, they're screaming and yelling at and stomp. There's even a song that, now how does it go? It was something to the effect of, when you're feeling mad, it's okay to kind of stomp your feet, and and in the episode, there's the tiger and I think it's the cat, one of the cats, but one of the characters, they're like stomping their feet and demonstrating, teaching how to have a whole tantrum, and I'm just like, not in my house. Like, the thing about it is your kids don't need help on how to have a tantrum. So again, with that being said, I have to tailor what they watch. For example, when that one particular song comes on, I do change the channel. Or if there's a theme that I don't think that Daniel Tiger does well or does it justice, I have to come in, my husband has to come in as a parent and really guide and mold and kind of rear our children in such a way where we don't allow Daniel Tiger or what they're watching on the show to govern them. Now, you might be sensing a theme. Number one, no show is perfect. It does not matter what you put on. It can be the best thing ever. Too much of it will be a problem for your kids, right? But I think the point is that a show or a screen or anything that they're doing where screens are concerned, none of that takes the place of intentional and engaged parenting. You have to do your job. And if you saw in that Coco Melon video that I did, a lot of people were commenting the same things, like, you can't rely on a screen. Like, for example, you go out with your family to dinner, don't bring the tablet. Surely there's another way to get your children to, behave themselves and sit well. Sometimes it's just practice. If it sucked the first time, book another restaurant visit in a week or two, or in a month, and try it again. And there are times when I have like real conversations with my children, one being 4, one being 2, and one being 1. And yes, I do have conversations with even the 1-year-old. She doesn't know what she's saying. I don't know. I think she knows what she's saying. I never know what she's saying to me, but she babbles and I talk back. And we have conversations. And then there's sometimes that I forget that they're so young, because my son can carry on a real good conversation with you, and my middle child as well. And there are times when you just forget that they're 4, they're 2, and they're 1. So when they start flaring and acting crazy, I'm just like, wait a second, what are they doing? And then I have to remember they're toddlers. With that being said, listen, you let your kids watch or not watch whatever you want. That's your role as a parent. There are channels like mine that will give you suggestions and kind of help you and guide you along the way. But this isn't Bible. I'm not Kim Kardashian. Listen, you do what you want to do with your kids. This has been a long enough video, and I hope that you found it helpful. Of course, like screens. I don't think we're ever going to replace. I don't think there's ever going to be a time where it's like no screens are banned. I don't know. Maybe we'll go back to a time that was more, pre-screen. I doubt it. I really do doubt it. I think it's going to probably get worse. But anyways, if you haven't already, check out that Coco Melon video. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Join the crowd. They're over there. And of course, I'll see you in the next video.